Okay guys, today we are going to be doing lesson 5, which is all about simplifying fractions. So I want you guys to think in your head for a second, what does it mean to simplify something? Okay, so when we're simplifying something, it means that we're going to be making it smaller. So there's a couple ways that we can make things smaller. So we know that we can make things smaller by subtraction, we can make things smaller by division. Now, the way that we're going to do it with fractions and simplifying them is we're actually going to do division. So everything you're going to do today is all focused on division. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what it says first. So it says, Maria had 12 boxes of apricots. She sold 10 of the boxes. Then Maria said that she sold 5/6 of the boxes. She made this drawing to show that 10/12 and 5/6 are equivalent fractions. So let's go ahead and look at this drawing right here. Let me just get a little bit closer. There we go. Okay, so right here we have 12ths, okay? So we have, let's count how many she has shaded. She has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So she has 10/12 shaded. Now down here she has 6, okay? And let's see how many she has shaded down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if we look right here at this line, then we can see that that equals the same amount. Right, so let's talk about why that equals the same amount. How many groups of 6 are in 12? Okay, so when you thought about that, you should have said that there are 2 groups of 6 in 12. So that's why we have 2 circled for every 1 6, because 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So when we think about that, if we take 10/12 and divide it by 2, then we have 10 divided by 2 equals 5, 12 divided by 2 equals 6, so 10/12 equals 5/6. So let's write that down right here. So we have 10/12, okay, and we're going to divide the top one by 2, and we're going to divide the bottom one by 2. So 10 divided by 2 equals, say it out loud with me, 5, and 12 divided by 2 equals, say it out loud with me, 6. So those equal the same, okay? So I want you to answer for me. Do you agree that 10/12 and 5/6 are equivalent? Okay, you should have said yes, and we're going to say it's because when you divide the top and the bottom by the same number, then it equals 5/6, okay? I won't write that out for you, but just remember that for me, okay? So let's head on to number 2. So Maria formed groups of 12s to get a greater unit fraction. What is that unit fraction? So what's that unit fraction that we have there? Go ahead and count them. If you said 10, you would be correct, right? Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? And down here we have 5. So it would be 10. Okay? Number 3. How many 12s did she put in each group? In other words, what was the group size? So if we look back up here, when she circled it, how many 12s were in each group? Let's count it. You ready? 1, 2. So we have 2 12s in each group. So that is our group size is 2. Alrighty. Show how you can find the equivalent fraction by dividing the numerator and denominator by the group size. So that's what we did up here. So this is just a review of what we already did down here. So we have 10/12. We're going to do 10 divided by 2, which equals, say it with me, 5. And we have 12 divided by 2, which equals, say it with me, 6. Good, so we get 5/6. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and read this part for you. So, to simplify a fraction, divide the numerator and denominator of a fraction by the same number to make an equivalent fraction made from fewer but larger unit fractions. So really all that's telling you is you just need to divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number to get a smaller fraction. Okay, so use what we know to simplify each fraction to make an equivalent fraction with a unit fraction of 1/6. So let's think about this. 12 divided by what equals 6? Okay, if you said 2, you would have been right. So if I divide that, my denominator by 2, then I have to divide my numerator by 2. So I'm going to do 8 divided by 2. So 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So 8/12 equals 4/6. Okay, I want you to try this one in your head by yourself, and then we'll go over it. go ahead and go over that one. So, just like we did before, 12 divided by what equals 6? Okay, we know 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So up at the top, we're going to divide by the same number. So 14 divided by 2 equals 7. Now what we know about converting, how many groups of 6 can I take out of 7 6? You can take out 1, so we're going to have one number, and how much do I have left over? You just have 1. So it's 7 6 or 1 and 1/6. Okay, we're going to go ahead and flip over to the back side. Alrighty. Okay, so let me push this up a little bit for you. Sorry, some adjusting. Does that look good? Kinda. Better? Okay. So, look at the thirds bar. So right here down at the bottom. Circle enough unit fractions on each of the other bars to equal 1/3. So what we can do is we can take this and we're just going to draw a line straight up. Okay? So we're going to circle how much is going to equal the same. So here we have 2 6 equals 1/3. Then we have 1 2 3 9 equals 1/3. Then we have 1 2 3 4 12 equals 1/3. Then we have 1 2 3 4 5 15ths equal 1/3, and then we're up to 18ths where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is 6/18ths. And this should tell you a little bit about division. 3 times 2 equals 6, 3 times 3 equals 9, 3 times 4 equals 12, 3 times 5 equals 15, and 3 times 6 equals 18, right? Okay, so down there on number 8, discuss how the parts of the fraction bars you circled show this change of equivalent fractions. Explain how each different group of unit fractions is equal to 1/3. So we kind of already talked about that, right? So if we start down here at 1/3, and I times this by 2, I'm going to get 2 6. If I times this by 3, I'm going to get 3 9ths. If I times 1/3 by 4, I'm going to get 4 12ths. If I times 1/3 by 5, I'm going to get 5 15ths. If I times 1/3 by 6, I'm going to get 6 18ths, okay? So we already talked about that one, so we won't have to fill that one in. Take a minute to think about that and make sure you're understanding that. Okay, so now on number 9, write the group size for each fraction in the chain of equivalent fractions. The first one is done for you. So we know in our 1/18ths we had 6, right? So that's why it's saying 6. So for 5 15ths, how much are we going to have in that group? Let's go back up here and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 in that group. Okay, let's look at 12ths. 1, 2, 3, 4. I kind of gave you the answer on that one, lucky ducks. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the next one, and I want you to think about it on your own. What's the group size there? Okay, if you said 3, you would have been correct. What about the next one? The next one would be 2. And the last one would be 1. Very good. So it's going down by one group every time we're going down that chain, okay? So down here, complete each equation by showing how you use group size to simplify. The first one is done for you. So what they did is they did 6 divided by 6 equals 1, and 18 divided by 6 equals 3. So let's think, 3 divided by what equals 1? Okay, if you said 3, you would be right. And if we divide anything by the top, we also have to divide it by the bottom. So 9 divided by 3 equals 3. So 3 9ths equals 1/3. So let's think about this one. 5 divided by what equals 1? Okay, you should have said 5. Which also tells us we got to divide by 5 down here. And 15 divided by 5 equals 3. Now, I want you to think about the next two on your own, and then we'll go over it together. Okay, on this one, you should have 2 divided by what equals 1? Say it with me. It is 2. Good. So then we're going to divide by the same number on the bottom, and 6 divided by 2 equals 3. Now on our last one, 4 divided by what equals 1? Say it with me. It is 4. And 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Good job, you guys. Okay, we have one more page to go over. Okay, so already did this. You use multiplication to find equivalent fractions by moving from left to right on the multiplication table. Do you guys remember this, how we went over and we could find those fractions? Okay, that's what we did in our last lesson, right? So, what happens to the fractions as you move from left to right? They get what? If I'm moving from this side to this side. The fractions get smaller, right? So they're going to get smaller because you're going to have smaller fraction sizes. So if I have, just think about our pizzas, right? So if I have 1/3, if I have 3 pieces of pizza and I get one of those, it's going to be bigger than if I get the smaller 2/6. But even though they're smaller pieces of fractions, they're all equivalent. And we talked about that last time, okay? So you can also do the same thing using division by simplifying when you move from right to left. So pretty much what they're saying is you can go the opposite way to simplify. So if I start at 5/15 and I want to get down this way, it equals also 4/12, also 3/9, also 2/6, and also 1/3. So I just have to move from right to left. So think the opposite of the way we read, okay? This way is going to make it so that it's simplified. All right? So let's go ahead and review this, okay? So here are 2 more rows from the multiplication table moved together. These rows can be can be used to generate a chain of fractions equivalent to 4/8. So 4/8 times, let's say we're going to do it times 2, okay? I'm going to times by 2 and times by 2. So if I go to the 2's, I can circle that. So let's see if that's right. 4 times 2 equals 8, and 8 times 2 equals 16. Very good. So let's try another one. Let's do 5 this time. So I'm going to find 5, and I'm going to circle that, okay? So 5 and 5. 4 times 5 equals 20, and 8 times 5 equals 40. Good. This time it kind of wants us to answer their question. So 20 divided by what equals 4? So let's go ahead and look at our multiplication chart. If I find my 20, what comes up here? 5. So we know 20 divided by 5 equals 4, and 40 divided by 5 equals 8. So let's do the same thing here. We have 36. Okay, so let's find our 36 here. Here it is. Okay, and let's find what number goes right above it. And that is a 9. So 36 divided by 9 equals 4. And 72 divided by 9 equals 8. Remember, it always has to be the same on the top and the bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this next one, 12. So let's find 12 in our chart. And what's right above that? It is a 3. Very good. So 12 divided by 3 equals 4. And 24 divided by 3 equals 8. Now let's try 24. So let's try to find 24 on our chart. And what number is right above it? It is a 6. So 24 divided by 6 equals 4. And 48 divided by 6 equals 8. Okay? This wants us to complete a chain of equivalent fractions. So what it means by a chain is that it's going up by 1 every time, right? So let's go ahead and look at this at the bottom. So 2 times what equals 4? This should be a really quick math fact for you. So it's 2 times 2 equals 4. So remember, if we multiply by the bottom, we have to multiply the same by the top. So 1 times 2 equals 2. And then we're going to keep going on the chain. So we're going to keep timesing by 2. So 2 times 2 equals 4. Good. Okay, let's do the same thing with this one. So we're going to start with 1/5. Okay? 5 times what equals 10? 5 times 2. So 1 times 2 equals 2. And 2 times 2 equals 4. Good. Okay, let's try it with a different number on top. So let's say I had 2/3 instead of 1/3. Okay? 3 times what equals 6? 2. Okay? So, oh, I did that weird, didn't I? I did. You have to multiply the same as the, oh no, that's right. Yeah, never mind, I lied. Okay, so 3 times 2 equals 6. So 2 times 2 equals 4. And 4 times 2 equals 8. Okay, now let's try a 1 on top with this one. So 2 times what equals 4? 2. So 1 times 2 equals 2. And 2 times 2 equals 4. So do you see how we're just multiplying the same on the top and the same as the bottom? Okay? Good, so that's what we're going to do here. We're going to simplify each fraction. So I'm going to give you some numbers. So I want to do divided by 2 on this first one. So same as top and bottom. So think in your head, what is it going to be? So if you said 4/5, you would have been right because 8 divided by 2 equals 4 and 10 divided by 2 equals 5. Okay, so on our next one, let's do the same one. Let's do 2 again. And 6 divided by 2 equals 3. And 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Good, we're only going to do one more in this section because I think you guys are getting a good hang of it. So with 1540, let's do 5. This one's going to be a little bit challenging for you guys, okay? So go ahead and think about what that answer is going to be. Okay, so 15 divided by 5 equals 3, and 40 divided by 5 equals 8. So that would be your answer, okay? We're going to go ahead and just do one of these, complete each chain, and then what you're going to do when we're done is you will go on Think Central and practice on your own, okay? So we have 16 eighths here. So now think division, right? Because we're getting smaller, right? Our number on the bottom is getting smaller. So 8 divided by what equals 4? 8 divided by 2. So 16 divided by 2 equals what? 8. Good. So now it's the same thing again. 4 divided by what equals 2? It would be 2. So 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Okay? And we're going to stop right there. So that was lesson 5. On your next task on the next slide, it's going to have you go on Think Central. So I want you to go on there and practice doing this on your own.